Yeah.
So we have these two boards here. We got this is a 9.6 and that is a 9.0. But other than length, there's a bunch of differences.
Yeah. So when you're first looking at longboards, you could think that the length is the only thing that matters. People be like, I want a 9.2 longboard. And then there are a lot of other factors at play. So maybe we could just go through and just talk about the features of one and then contrast it to the features of the other.
That sounds good. So what stands out to you? Like, let's say that you were gonna approach this board. What are the things that you notice first?
So things I noticed first, before I classify it, right, because it is a pretty classifiable board. But things I noticed first are, well, one, it has a really wide tail block. I don't know if you can see this, but it looks like about like 7 inches or so, maybe 8. And so it's gonna keep it like nice and stable going one way in the wave. It's got a pretty parallel rail line as you go up the board, which is kind of same thing, gonna keep it going down the line in a really like predictable fashion. It just has one single fin. It doesn't have an option of side bites, which makes the most sense for this outline. You're not trying to, I get ahead of myself here, but you're not trying to do any sort of like radical maneuvers on this board. Kind of as you go up the board, you're gonna notice there's like a change in the way the bottom is shaped. So around here, you're kind of flat and it kind of tapers off towards the edges. And then as you go up towards the front, you'll end up with a little bit of space here. And that is what they call like single concave or nose concave in a board. And that's gonna create lift in the nose. And you've got a nice wide nose too. So wide nose, wide tail. So, and then the rails of this particular board are kind of the same as you go from the front to the back. So if you were to take your hand and run it along the rail, this is how I like to look at rails. Kind of run it along the nose. Looks like it's a little upturned at the nose, but then it'll be relatively the same curvature as you go, just kind of like a slightly different diameter of that curve all the way to the tail. And so all of those features, that's a rolled 50-50 rail all the way to the tail.
So 50-50 means that the apex of the rail is right in the center. Is that right?
Correct.
Stoked.
Yes, so yep, 50-50 right in the center. And all of those characteristics classify this as a log. Log being a generally like sturdier, steadier longboard designed for nose riding.
Okay.
You'll talk to very hardcore loggers and they will say 17 pounds. And that's what makes it a log.
Really?
Yeah.
It's a weight thing.
It's a weight thing.
Wow. So
But
what
those-
happens if you get some dings and like a lot of water gets in there and all of a
Oh
sudden
yeah,
it's
and
you-
more than 17 is great.
Oh, okay, more
It's
than.
like a minimum. The people will discuss a minimum weight, and they will trash talk some EPS longboards all day long.
So that supersedes shape? It's just like
I think it's
heavy
all
equals log?
I think it's all part of it, but that is apparently
Okay,
an
so
important
that's-
aspect.
That's
of-
another criteria.
Yeah.
So if you talk to hardcore loggers, a log is going to be a single fin. It's going to have a wider square tail. It's going to have 50-50 rails.
Yes.
It's going to be kind of flat for most of the board.
Mhm.
Is that right?
Mhm.
And it's going to be heavy.
And it's going to be heavy.
Okay.
Yeah, and it's going to have a relatively parallel rail line. It could maybe have some hips in the back.
So what would be the downside of riding a board like this if you were more of a beginner surfer?
It's going to be more, whichever way you point it is where it's going.
Okay.
And you are, whatever the speed that the wave is moving is the speed that you are going. You're not going to pump and make it around a section. You are, if it's in a happy flow, you are right in the right place all the time. If you're in like a more of a beach breaky scenario, or if you're not quite super adept at reading the speed pocket of the wave yet and seeing exactly where to put your body and the board, then it can be a lot more challenging, because they do require some careful manipulation. Also, you do have to walk back and forth around the board to really get it to perform, which for people just learning can be pretty challenging, because you're just like trying to think about keeping your feet where you're going, not falling down, looking where you're going. You're not thinking, oh, I'm gonna dance around, I'm gonna do some you're just trying to stay on the wave.
Okay.
So maybe not the best.
Not the best option.
Yeah.
Okay.
But
But if you're
who
just
knows?
going straight in the
I
whitewash,
was about to say, if
you'll
you're
be
going
fine.
straight in the whitewash, it's probably a great board to get your first couple whitewash waves on. You
Uh-huh.
know, might not be the best board to progress on, but like to start, and then maybe like 6 months later, pick back up. 6 months, a year, whatever later,
yeah.
try again.
Okay. Okay, so this one is a bit more of a high performance longboard.
Yes. Yeah. So high performance longboards, it's a little trimmer throughout. The nose is not as wide. The rails are not as parallel. They have a little bit of a curve to them. And the tail tucks quite a bit. Another thing that makes it a high performance longboard versus a log is that the rail contour changes as you go towards the back. You end up with, so you start at the front with pretty similar rails to the log, right? And you follow your hand. They're slightly more down rail than the log. So down rail means you've got a little bit more volume right over the top of the board than you do on the bottom, and that makes the board sit on top of the water a little bit more and be less kind of married to the curl. You can beat sections, but it will be maybe slightly less smooth of a ride. And then as you go towards the back, you'll be even less married to the curl of the wave, less kind of embedded in it. You have this flat section that actually planes off. So this here, you have a hard edge. You'll see this in a lot of short boards. And then people started kind of taking shortboard aspects and putting them back into longboards to make longboards turn and surf slightly differently, more maneuverable as a shortboard would be. So you can beat sections on this board versus on this one you're completely in tune with the wave and the wave is in charge. Whereas in this one you can be a little bit more picky about where you go, what you do. You can pump around sections. You can generate your own speed. You can initiate turns a little bit easier. One, because you have your own speed to work with, but then also because the tail tucks and the rails are a little bit rounder. You're not as locked in.
So that was a lot of information, but what should you ride? Well, it's really about trying to figure out who you are as a surfer or who you aspire to be. Are you more of a shortboard spirit that likes to move around, hit the lip, do a bunch of turns, be more radical? Or are you more of a traditionalist that wants to focus on style and grace, headed towards the nose, crushing those sections, always poised and looking beautiful? Whoever you are, it's all good. There's no right or wrong. It's just about embracing whatever it is that gives you the most joy.